All right, cool. Well, welcome to Fuck Your Life Up or F Your Life Up, however we want to do it today, because are we feeling like we want to curse? Yes, I think we are, because it's raining today in SoCal.
Every day, like the last couple days.
I know. So all of our lives are messed up today. So yeah, my name's Sam as always, and I've got Katie here with me. Today, Crystal is out doing her real estate thing, so she couldn't be with us. But helping us with our theme today of alignment and following your instincts is our guest, Shelby Soileau. Am I pronouncing it correctly?
It is tricky. It's actually swallow, but literally it's 1%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, you might also know her as Styling Sunshine if you follow her on Instagram. She's a content creator and mom who has made a life for herself that is not traditional, but it works for her because she's followed her instincts and aligned her priorities. That was really the thing that I got from you when we spoke the other day. Would you agree with that, Shelby?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, can you go over kind of, you're not from SoCal originally, right? You came from Texas. Can you kind of go into your story a little bit and how you got here and became a content creator?
Give us the backstory. Tell us where the bodies are buried.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Yeah, my story is very unique and not cookie cut, especially being from the South. I feel like we're really kind of trained out there to like, you go to high school, you go to college, you get married, you get the house in the suburbs, and I just did not feel aligned with that at all. When I had the opportunity when I was in Texas to do some real estate and I was a nanny, I would have some downtime while the kids were sleeping. And that's kind of when I started really seeing on Instagram that I think people aren't just using this app to like post little photos anymore just for fun. I could kind of tell and see. I was like, I think these girls might be getting this stuff sent for them for free. Maybe they're getting paid. I'm already posting pictures of my outfit, but I'm not really doing it professionally or tagging what I'm wearing.
Yeah, circa how long ago would you say?
This was probably about 9.5 years ago. I guess we could round it up to 10 before my son was born.
I like that you're using nap time to create business ideas. When I babysat, the only thing I would do when the kids were napping was like literally raid the snack drawer. So I was a lazy babysitter. I like that you were like, I got a little bit more to offer.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I'm not one. Yeah, I did do the snack drawer too, but multitasking over here. And so, yeah, I basically, I don't know. It's just like, when you feel like something's right and in alignment, I didn't really put too much thought into it. I just created an Instagram account. I bought a WordPress website and was like, you know what? I'm going to start. I already have all these clothes, all of this stuff. I've always kind of been, I really started in the fashion mainly and doing some DIY stuff. And I already had all of that, but I was already doing it. And I was like, well, why don't I just document it a little more professionally, share it, start tagging the brands and kind of see what I could do. Everything was so new back then. This industry was so really not, especially in Texas, not really around. So, there really wasn't much to lose or any like rules to follow or anything to do. So I just made the Instagram account, started posting, started tagging. And even back then, my first brand reach out was like this really gaudy, like statement necklace. And like, hey, we'll send you this $150 necklace as long as you pay for the shipping. And, it was like my first one. And I was like, oh, yeah, like I'm going to get $150 necklace for free. Like, this is amazing. I just have to pay like $15 for shipping. Turns out that was like a scam. We ended up linking up on Facebook, a bunch of creators, realizing that these necklaces were like $10. They were very cheap. They basically broke the first time you wore them. You paid for the shipping, but that was kind of like my first like brand deal. And then like I tagged something and it kind of just started building from there. But really when it took off was when I moved to California, which was also kind of on a whim. My brother's in real estate. I was doing real estate in Texas and he was like, hey, why don't you come to California with me? I'll have a job for you. You've always lived in Texas. I'm like, sure. I literally just on a whim was like, why not? Like, why not make the move? And it's funny because even back then, everyone was kind of leaving California and going to Texas. So all my friends and family were like, you're not doing, like everyone's leaving there and coming here.
You're doing it wrong, Shelby.
Yeah. And I would kind of just be like, well, just because everyone else is like leaving, coming here, like, I don't know why. Like, I'm going to do what I feel like is right and what feels right in my heart. Did I have a bunch of huge, big savings account? No. Was I, also ended up getting pregnant and moving
Oh.
7.5 months pregnant. Like that wasn't a part of the plan, but you know, we still stuck to our plan and came out here, and I had my son. And once I was out here and kind of posting and tagging, that's when I got reached out to by some local brands that were saying, hey, we're hosting some influencers to come in to do like a sip and shop, which is where they provide like charcuterie boards and maybe some champagne, and you get to shop. They usually give you a gift card. And when I went there and really started getting it, I was like, oh, this is much more advanced here in California, the influencer marketing industry. Like they're hosting events. I was getting more like collaborations, and I was showing up to these events really hopeful of making friends because I didn't know anyone out here. Because a lot of times when you go to stuff like this, you got to take all these videos and photos, and it's kind of hard to do by yourself. And again, back then, it wasn't as normalized, like bring your tripod and your ring light. Like nowadays, you go to a restaurant, and the girls have got their full blown like ring light.
No shame at all. No yeah, shame. They're just set up. No,
back then it was like embarrassing. You needed someone like with you to like capture your content, you know? And so I went to these events, realized the girls really weren't up to making friends and connecting, which was kind of like disheartening. But then I just used Instagram, like I already was using it for marketing, and reaching out to local girls in Orange County saying, hey, why don't we go to these events together? Like, we don't need to see each other's competition. We can help each other grow. We can be there to help each other capture content for each other. And the response I got was very, very large. And a lot of girls wanted to do that. We started a little DM chat on Instagram. And started attending events together and just being super open and friendly and inclusive to everyone around us.
That sounds amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really for my benefit, but it was funny how it kind of started benefiting the girls that were coming with, other people at these events. And I kind of was getting approached like, who are y'all? How do we hire you to come to our events and stuff? I'm like, or nobody. We're just like a DM chat on Instagram. Like, you should make an Instagram page just for this like little community that you're creating.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like year 1 or 2 into like year 1.5 into me creating content, I started a content creator community out here in SoCal. And we would go to gyms together, boutiques together, restaurants together, and just batch produce so much content.
And that was called SoCal Blogger Babes, right?
Yes. Yeah, that was the name. Yeah, we ended up changing our.
I know so many people that are doing this in other communities that like are actors or stunt people. It's kind of like you have to have this community so you could be like, okay, meet me in such and such parking lot, and we're going to do this stunt act and put together our reels or our audition tapes together. So why not for this, you know, creator group to say, hey, I found a really great location, an ice cream shop that has ice cream, right? And everyone needs to be licking their cone, so someone needs to be filming it, right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. And when you have multiple girls posting about one business or boutique or something at the same time in the localized area, the content really, the brand really gets benefit from it. We get benefit from it because I'm posted on her page and on her page and on her page. And now everyone's like, of their followers, are like, oh, who is this Styling Sunshine girl? We should follow her too. So it's really mutually beneficial to everyone, especially still back then in an industry where we all kind of didn't know what we were doing, but we like loved it and we loved creating the content. And again, a lot of the newer girls back then, especially, were still kind of embarrassed, like go out in public and, you know, be filming yourself so bluntly around, you know, strangers, because back then it did kind of look, you know, superficial and like diva-ish, but now everyone kind of knows, okay, see a girl with their tripod, she's probably doing marketing. But yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
Like, I would have thought that it would have been somewhat competitive, which maybe that was some of the girls' instincts right away that you were connecting with, that they didn't want to maybe collaborate with you because, well, this is my share of the market. But it sounds like maybe the algorithm and just the world in general is starting to realize that, you know, being inclusive and helping each other only, you know, helps everybody grow. And I love that you kind of realized that early on and brought a bunch of women together. And then that became something that you had nationally too, correct? So that grew even beyond SoCal. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, definitely. And also I wanted to chime in too, you talked about competition. Our little tagline was actually community over competition. That's literally something we said on a regular basis, because at the end of the day, you're right. A lot of us on Instagram, even sometimes to this day, I get on there, I'm like, why didn't I get that collab? You know, she outbeat me, but we would, you know, kind of all talk to each other. Like brands are looking for certain things. And just because you didn't get one collab and one girl got picked and you didn't, you know, being there for each other and making each other aware of like, hey, sometimes we get the ones we want. Sometimes we don't work with brands that we want to work with. And you just got to keep pushing and not let yourself get in your head about it of like, I'm not good enough, or I don't have enough followers or get enough likes, all that stuff that, you know, it can be kind of tricky.
Yeah, I would imagine there's a lot of rejection in your industry, right?
Yeah.
There definitely is. Yes. And it's all kind of based on, okay, if you have this many followers within this bracket, you get paid this much. And if you're in this bracket, you get paid this much. And so that can make you get in your head like, well, if I was in this higher bracket, I'd make more money. And why don't I have that many followers like the other girl I know, you know, but it's all very humbling. And again, when you're in a community where you all remind each other like, hey, your worth isn't tied to your follower count, to just keep posting, keep going. If you love what you're doing and you're posting authentically, then, you know, you're putting something good out. If even only a couple hundred people see it or hundreds of thousands of people see it. And that's kind of what happened with the group was we started really gaining traction on Instagram, and I was getting DM'd by girls in San Antonio, Texas, and Houston, Texas, San Diego saying, please bring this to our city. And, well, I guess I should backtrack just a little bit. Sorry about that. With the community, I started hosting events. So I would go to some local OC Fashion Week shows, and they were great, but I noticed some things that were lacking for just like a girl like me. I was like, I want to see a fashion show, and I want to be able to turn around immediately and shop what's on the runway. And I want girls on the runway that are more so like the average everyday girl, not someone that I can't really relate to on the runway. So I would bring my members in. They would be on the runway. We would use local brands only to style them. And we would usually have 3 different brands in the fashion shows. And in between the fashion shows, we would have a flower crown bar where you can make your own flower crown, a braid bar by a local hairstylist who would do some braids for the girls. We would have food, drinks, like photo booth, fun, interactive things so that you're not just sitting there waiting for the next designer to hop on the thing. And my first event, every single brand sold out of all the clothing that they brought. Everyone did so amazing. I was terrified. I had no idea what I was doing, but I felt the need and like that the community needed it. So I didn't charge for tickets. I didn't charge any vendors, and like 400 people showed up. We called it Babe Chella was what it was called. So it was like a boho fashion event,
that's so fun,
like the Coachella thing. And with those events and the community gaining traction and everything, I had a girl in the area that was about 10 years older than me that had much more experience with business. I went to school for kinesiology, athletic medicine, thinking I was going to be a physical therapist. The business was great, but it was blowing up in such a way that it was kind of freaking me out when it comes to business plans, taxes, all of the things. I was kind of getting in over my head, but just trying to stay positive. So when this woman came into my life and was like, hey, I want to be your business partner. I want to purchase half your company. I really feel like I could do all the things that you're afraid to do and don't want to do. You be the front end. I'll be the back end of the house. So we joined forces. It blew up even more. We like the next event we had, we called Fall Chella during the fall. And we sold tickets. This time we sold, you know, the booths to the vendors. And then I think because of that, we really started gaining traction. And that's when other women started reaching out from different cities in the nation saying, hey, can you please bring this to my city? My business partner and I, we looked at each other and we're like, you know, like, why not try? You know, we have someone wanting to kind of run it for us and be our head girl out there. I would go to each city and do a launch party, and we would work with local brands, have a nice venue, invite everybody so they can come in and kind of see what we're all about. Having me, the CEO and founder, like face to face, talking about what the community has done for me as an individual, but also for my blog. And we ended up having 22 chapters across the nation, from Connecticut to California and everywhere in between. It was it was great. It was all in-person stuff though. So unfortunately when 2020 came around, it was really hard to keep up, because no one wanted to do anything online. We were like, well, let's just shift all of our meetups and everything to Zoom, but everyone was already doing Zoom for their work. The last thing they wanted to do was get on Zoom, you know, for business. And unfortunately, I would say in like 2021, 2022, like closer to 2022, we just decided that the market shifted, and to what we were getting from local businesses to the members really changed because they didn't have a marketing budget anymore. they were suffering from 2020 too. So not only could we not meet up, but then the brands couldn't offer anything anymore. And it was just that perfect storm to make us make a tough decision that for now, like, we're going to pause it. But to this day, I still get tons of girls reaching out saying, start it up again, start it up again.
I mean, do you think that it's still a good model for what we now know of the technology and all of the social media out there? Like, do you think it could still work?
I think so. I think it's definitely getting closer. I would say for a while there, the market did change, and just people in general really weren't open to hang out with strangers as much as they used to be pre-2020. It like kind of took a while for like the world to bounce back, but I feel like it's getting there now. You know what I mean? Where it's like, hey, we all are feeling somewhat normal again. We want to meet up and meet local strangers, you know, because for a while there, just like everyone was kind of needing that isolation and time, and it kind of affected us all in a way where it's like, I don't want to go meet a bunch of women I don't know. I'm off. I've been through it. I've been through a pandemic, you know, and now I feel like it's getting to that time.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it could be really successful.
Yeah, I love the idea. I mean, listen, it becomes like a more modern, chic version of the Arts and Crafts Festival or the Farmers Market, right? It's just the niche version and bringing some top quality products and people together. So I really, I like it. Like, it sounds bougie fun.
It honestly was a lot of fun. Like, I really did. I worked hard and, you know, traveled a lot to all these launch parties, but I learned so much as an individual, especially even from my business partner, because she was older, had 10 years on me. Again, I went into this and kind of jumped it without really knowing anything about running a business and not letting your emotions get in the way and, you know, all the things. And she would kind of help guide me. It really is. I would take honestly, I would take everything personally at the beginning. This was like, you know, 2018, 2019, and I was younger then too. So we were the perfect yin and yang, where she could give me that tough love of like, hey, you know, you're taking this personally, whatever happened in like, this is business. You got to look at it from a business mindset. So I feel really grateful to even be able to say that, like, we did it and we hosted the events that we hosted. And I think at one point, you know, we had over like 600 members across the board. And, you know, it was really great. And even seeing girls now that didn't know each other before, that they're still connected, and I still see them on Instagram hanging out, shooting content together. It does give me, you know, that.
How did you not get overwhelmed in this time? Because clearly starting a business is highly complicated and a huge time and financial investment. And you did mention you had a newborn, you know, right there on your hip. So how did you take care of yourself and not get overwhelmed?
And see, honestly, that was my problem. I was so narrow mindseted on work. It'll all pay off. Like, I don't need to spend any time filling my cup. I don't need to worry about burnout, even though my business partner towards, I would say like 6 months into working together, she would nicely kind of point out like, hey, you know, I love how hard of a work you are, but I'm seeing signs that you're going to head towards burnout if you don't slow down. But in my mind back then, especially being young and not really knowing what I know now about meditation and mindset and like taking that time to rest and reset and refuel yourself, thinking I could just go powerhouse it, that I never needed to rest because all of this would pay off in the end, I was kind of naive in that point. I'm like, no, I can't burn out me. Like, this is my baby. This is my business. I'm going to like go to the tooth and nail. I'll like go to war for this. I don't care how exhausted I am. And I was. I mean, my son was in a pack and play at a good amount of these events I was hosting, just in right near me, just in this pack and play, just so I could make this all work out, you know? And it went really well. And I think 2020, when that hit, that and everything stopped. That's when my burnout kind of settled in. And that's kind of when I started looking into alignment and realizing, okay, if I'm only spending time filling everyone else's cup, this business's cup, my Styling Sunshine's cup, my son's cup, and I'm never putting me first, Shelby first, I really had to make some lifestyle changes and really had to sit down and think, okay, I cannot wake up every morning and immediately just start working, because then that's all I'm doing all day, and I'm not putting myself first at all.
You know what's so interesting, because you tell this story, I had my son in a pack and play at this event, and you say it like a badge of honor, which it is. And I think all of us have had those similar stories. I can say, oh, I would breastfeed my child before, like during sound check at the Roxy A Go Go or the Whiskey A Go Go off the Sunset Strip. How rock and roll is that? And then another woman will say something else where they were doing those things. And you do it like, yeah, look what I did. And now hindsight, isn't it so great that we can look back and go, why were we killing ourselves? Why were we schlepping our babies around and being proud that we were putting them in weird situations just so we could do it all?
I agree, and I almost feel like it's just like a societal norm, like pushed on us. And
Yes.
it's just like, so what, your mom? You keep going, just push through.
Yeah, you do.
Like that's just what women do. We push and we can do it all. You know what I mean? I was raised by a single mom. She did it all. From even mowing our grass. You know what I mean? I'd be like out in the pack and play in the yard, and she would be literally doing it all. And I think seeing her too kind of live that way, I kind of just thought like it's okay. And you're right. Looking back, especially at videos, I drug this little baby with me everywhere to all these like marketing events and this and that. And I know he had fun and I know he's fine, but I look back and like, maybe I should have been, taking him to the park, or like, not bringing him with me to work everywhere all the time. But luckily my business partner, I told you about that we joined forces. She had a son. A lot of the girls in the group were moms. So when we would meet up, they'd bring their kids. And to this day, I still hang out with a member that was in my group. And my son has been friends with her son his entire life. And he's 4 years old now. So we've been with them like 4 years now, and we're still friends, and our kids are still friends, and we've gone to Hawaii together, and it's just, there has been a lot of good from it. But you're right, like I feel like, luckily, I guess I could say the pandemic happened, or I might have really burned myself out even worse, and just would have kept just chugging on because that's what us women do, especially moms.
Yeah. Oh yeah, guilty as charged. How did you pivot in the pandemic with your business? Like, what was the shift? How long did it take to kind of get something else going?
I mean, for a while there, we were just pushing because, unfortunately, well, I don't know if unfortunately, but these girls were signed into an annual membership. So depending on when they signed up, they could have still had 10 more months of their membership. And from a business perspective too, we didn't want to issue out a bunch of refunds because that just obviously wasn't good for us as a business. We were doing really well before the pandemic. We actually brought on another girl that was in the group. Her husband wanted to invest. We brought on a few other investors in that. So before the pandemic, I mean, the finances, everything, I would sit at these investor meetings, and my business partner that does the back end, she would be saying stats and saying all these numbers, and I would like look over like, oh my gosh, wait, we're doing that good? Like I'm just doing the front end of the house. I didn't realize until we'd sit down and I'd hear the numbers. I'm like, oh dang, okay, like this is going great. Like I didn't pay myself the first 2 years of running this business, and we finally just got to a point before the pandemic, like 3 months before, I was like, okay, we're doing well enough that we can pay ourselves, which was great news. And then the pandemic happened. And so like the last thing we wanted to do was issue refunds. So I would create all these online challenges, whether that be like Instagram templates to share. I'm sure y'all have seen where you like pick this or that. Let's say it's a Christmas one. Do you like hot cocoa or apple cider? Do you like, colorful Christmas tree lights or regular, and I would just give all of these resources and make them for the girls to try to counterbalance some of the meetups that weren't happening. We would offer meetups online, and I would say we held on for like a year and a half. We even hosted 2 more events after COVID, and we were terrified because we were just worried someone was going to get mad that we were like,
a super okay spreader event, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Even though it was outside and we like had masks and everything, we were still scared of like, oh my gosh, like who's going to come after us? Because sometimes when you run a business, it feels like you just cannot please. I mean, you can't please everyone. Nope. It's impossible. Someone's going to get mad at you for something. So I'd say for the majority of it, the girls were happy with what we were offering. Some of the girls, really just wanted only the in-person stuff. Maybe we issued a few refunds, but we had the events. Everything went really well. The brands did well. The events did well, but we were burning ourselves out trying to keep this thing up in the air and not let it touch the ground. Like my business partners and I sat down, I think it was close to 2022. And we just were like, hey, like we're putting 75% more energy in to kind of get, we weren't getting a lot of signups from members. Our events did do well, but not as well as they were doing. And again, like we just kind of all reached a point where we realized that we have to, we just need to take a pause and right now, because we could feel ourselves getting burned out. And then I kind of just shift my focus to my own page. Cause I will admit, for a while there when I was running the business, I wasn't very focused on Styling Sunshine. I was posting on 22 Instagram accounts. We had an Instagram account for each chapter across the nation. And it was, you know, a lot. So my Instagram kind of did sit on the back burner a little bit. I was still posting every now and then, especially when I needed to for stuff through the business. But when we kind of decided to take a step back, that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to focus fully on my page. And that's when I realized in 2020 that I was going to homeschool my son. So then I kind of really shifted gears to that. Okay, homeschool. And then, which may be really deceiving right now, anyone watching this, because this is an AI background, but I live in a van. So van life kind of stumbled upon me. And I've always kind of wanted to do, since 2020, a big lifestyle change, especially after the burnout of saying, hey, can I figure out how to be more self-sufficient, learn how to build a van, go and build it with my dad, and live with less and potentially experience more out of life, which is totally what's happened. We have everything we need, and we are living with less, but we have experienced so much more by getting out there more, traveling more, going to national parks more. And honestly, my content has been doing really well with that too, because I'm actually super focused on myself and my content now, not on the bigger picture of the business, but I do miss it.
Well, Shelby, why not show the background? Why do you feel that you need to have an AI background? You know,
I'm kind of like sitting in my shower right now. I don't even know how to like turn
if you're willing.
Yeah, no, totally. Let me see. Let's see. Figure out how to.
Yeah, it just seems like, you know, if you're gonna lean in, lean in. The
let's see.
background.
This is like,
okay, so here we are. This is
amazing. I love this.
My shower. I built this myself. You know, I'm pretty proud of her.
I mean, all the more reason to be proud of it. All the more reason to be proud of it. That's incredible.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm honestly.
And I'm sure it's the same with having the van, but you know, it's like there's always something needing to be fixed. But at this level, it's like you feel like you're never able to stay on top of it. Like sometimes I dream about just selling it all and just hopping in a van and leaving.
Honestly, and that's how I felt when I did have my townhouse. It was just like, there's 2 stories, you know, there's 2 bedrooms, shag carpet, stairs. I was always just, okay, both bathrooms need to be clean. Okay, the carpet's full of dog hair. I need to vacuum. Like, it was just never being able to keep up with life. And I'll say now, like, my ADHD brain just loves the tiny living, the tiny space, everything I need kind of like within sight.
Yeah.
And again, like the confidence I gained from even like learning how to build a shower, like, you know, I mean, in the solar system, we had 4 solar panels on the roof. And I mean, luckily, I guess we did a good job because we really haven't had, it's almost been 3 years now, and there's not been any issues, any repairs we need to make. We've just been so happy living this way, obviously saving a good amount of money too. Rent in California is so expensive, and we just get to travel and see family with the homeschooling. And with this, you know, we're able to go see extended family and stay for several weeks at a time and go to national parks with our friends. And luckily we've created a big homeschool community just from meeting people out at parks and playgrounds. And I mean, like my son, he can do it all. He's skateboards, rollerblades, mountain bikes, BMX races, you know, mountain climbs or rock climbing. I mean, he has such an active, experienced life through this lifestyle. Now, my mom and everyone back home, they still think I'm a little crazy, you know, 'cause like I said, you know, you grow up in the South, like your goal is like get the house in the suburbs and, you know, be just like kind of
have a little bit of land, probably, especially in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like live in a van, you know, but I would say now, you know, almost 3 years in, my family's like, okay, she made the right choice. But again, that was another one that I just jumped and did because the opportunity fell in my lap. My lease was up. My son's father, he's in real estate. And we always said if he made a big paycheck, like one of the big deals we've been waiting on for years, that we would make a big lifestyle change. So we really had to we had 5 days to make a decision, because then we would have been paying our rent month to month, which is just even more expensive than what we were paying. So we really had to make the choice. Okay, do we want to not re-sign our lease? This deal just closed and happened. We have the finances to go buy the van, pay for it cash, do everything to build it. We have my dad's house in Alabama. He's got every tool known to man. He's like a tool collector. He's got the space for us to live there and build the van. Do we want to make the big jump? And for me, it was a no-brainer. It was something I've been thinking about for years. So, you know, we sold all of our, basically like 70% of our stuff, which was hard and easy. It's like, you know, when we lived in our townhouse for 6 years, and you just accumulate so much stuff over the years. So it was like a weight off the shoulders to get rid of it, but it was also still kind of scary. Like, okay, I'm literally getting rid of everything I own. I am driving to Alabama, and I mean, this thing was a shell when we bought it. There was nothing in here, no windows or anything. We installed, we did it all, and we thought, oh, we'll build it in 2 months and be right back here. No, it took us 6 months living in Alabama, which is very different than California, living in SoCal. We were very blessed to be out here between the bugs and the humidity and just even the crazy hurricane-like storms that blow through there. But it was worth the sacrifice, and all of it it played out so well. But again, had to make that risk, and again, kind of freak out everyone in my life. Like, wait, what? You're leaving California and you're buying a van? You're going to turn a cargo van into a house? I'm like, yeah, YouTube, like just all on YouTube. It's going to be so easy to follow. It's going to be no big deal. Oh my gosh. It was the hardest, most challenging thing I've ever done in my life, but I came out stronger and wiser on the other side of it, you know? And I think that's a lot of things in life, you know, the easy route, the route that everyone else is doing. If you're not following your intuition, if you're not following what you know is right for you, whether that be because of fear of the unknown, fear of judgment, you know, all the things, sometimes you've got to make that leap. You know?
Yeah.
So
it's the name of the podcast, right, Sam? I mean, it's fuck your life up. You know, it's doing something that other people would say you are effing this up, and you're like, am I effing it up or am I effing it up? And it seems like you really, you know, got a handle of the up part of it. So congratulations.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I really feel like I want to get into the part about it being hard and you still pushing through, because some people might take that and go, I guess this isn't meant to be. I should go back and get all my stuff and move back into that, you know, townhouse. Yeah. Was there ever a moment of doubt when it was really hard to just go back to what was more comfortable? Or were you like, no, I'm even more sure because it's more aligned with the eventual goal that I want?
I would say definitely once we actually physically got to Alabama, and physically, it's like one thing to plan it all. We have family in Houston, so when we drove from California, we like stopped in Houston for a little bit, and we're just writing out all of our plans. Again, I'm still like on this high wave of like, this is going to be no big deal. All we have to do is just follow instructions. So many van lifers who've shared everything they've done. As long as we follow instructions, it's going to be so easy. And then once we started building, it really kind of started sinking in of like, wait, like if we don't screw this cabinet in all the way, when we're driving, it could like fall and hit our kid on the head. You know what I mean? Or like the water system, what if there's a leak and we have mold going or an electrical fire? I would say at the beginning, once we started, I did have a moment where I kind of freaked out and was like, wait, we're in way over our head. What was I thinking? Like, oh my gosh, we really think we can build a house. You know, it was a little scary at first, but luckily, you know, with my dad and community and even some other van lifers that we'd reach out to that have YouTube channels, and I would DM them and ask them questions like, hey, I don't understand this one part of your video. Can you explain it more? And they were so nice and helpful. Several different van life people just being there and our family being there. And I think that mission was always in my heart of like, hey, you know, you should be doing this. Like you're having a moment of freak out, maybe freak out for a day, but tomorrow, like, let's just try. Just try to start building. Don't think about all the things that can go wrong. Think about what can go right. And even if some things do go wrong, there's a part for the electrical system. It's called an inverter, and it's really pricey. And we ordered the wrong one the first time. But what do you know? Amazon's great. You just got to return it. You know, you can just get another one. You know, there was a few little like cutting mistakes when you're cutting wood, but luckily, like when you make mistakes, they're not permanent, you know, and we just kind of kept pushing through that fear with that end goal of mine of, hey, like this really feels in alignment for us. And I think too, with our son watching was really just inspiring because he was seeing his parents do something that they'd never done, coming together, trying to make it happen, getting over, you know, humps that we would like see as hard. And he was just so interested in the whole entire process of everything that we built, helping us film it because we were like recording a lot of it so we could share it, and him just thinking it was the coolest thing ever and just being all about it. So it's like, okay, you know, he's watching. Let's show him that even through challenges and hard times and hard projects that just slow down, take it one step at a time. Don't think about every single little mistake that could go wrong and everything down the road, one foot in front of the other. And I really feel like that benefited us and him, seeing that like, hey, like if you set your mind to something and really stay focused and true and through the ups and downs, you can make it happen.
You mentioned that this van life dream was a dream at one point, right? You were living in a townhouse, and you and your husband or partner said, you know, when we get the big deal, we're going to do this. Do you have something on your vision board right now? Is there a timeline to leave van life and go do something else, or have another new challenge? Not to have you give away your secrets, but like what next?
That's such a good question. And honestly, I will give away one little secret, because I did journal every day before. Kind of when I told y'all I got into burnout, one of the things I looked into was like obviously meditation. Journaling was one of them, writing down affirmations, and a manifesting technique that I got somewhere off the internet was to write down 3 things you're thankful for in the past, the future, and the present. And then if you say them out loud, your brain actually doesn't know what's actually happened, because one's away in the past, some are in the past, some happen now, and some are the future. And I would always write down in my future ones, like, I'm so grateful for my van. I'm so grateful that I live in a van. And I think I was doing that for like a year and a half until the van life fell into my lap. Now, what am I saying thank you for? It's actually funny you brought up land. I really want to homestead, build a shipping container house. So it's basically a metal box, just like the one I already built, but it doesn't have any wheels and it doesn't move and doesn't go anywhere. So I have a feeling that'll be a lot easier. And I'd like to have some chickens and grow my own food. So right now I have a photo of a nice little piece of land that hopefully one day, you know, my son and I, we can live on. I have family like from the South, the homesteading's in our blood. All my aunts and uncles, you know, they're out there just doing everything from canning to growing food to hunting to building, you know, structures in their garages and their house, like little cottages and stuff. So for me, really, I would like to eventually at some point be on a little piece of land. And I know, kind of like with the van life, you know, when an opportunity is come into your life and it's meant to be and the timing is right, you know. And people ask me sometimes, like, aren't you want to have it exactly planned out? And I'm like, I'll know and I'll feel it when it's time for van life to be done. I try not to stress too soon when exactly that's going to be, because right now, I mean, when my son and I, we because I work with hotels, we were actually just working with the Hilton this past weekend. And my son, every time we go into a hotel room, he's like, man, I wish this hotel room had a cave, which is what he has underneath my bed. My bed is like a loft style bed. And then below my bed is his cave, which is basically a big room, and it has a door, and he has it all decorated in there, and there's shelves. And everywhere we've ever stayed at, he's like, I kind of just want to go sleep in my cave tonight. I'm like, you don't want to sleep in this big bougie condo that, you know, Grandpa got us all the way here in Florida? So he loves it. I mean, we'll be at the playground in the park, and his 4 friends, him and 3 friends can fit in there, and they will beg me every time we all get together, can we go play in Jackson's cave? I'm like, guys, it's sunny. You have a whole playground out here, a whole outdoors to do stuff. And you want to come hang out in my van, you know, because sometimes people do get concerned and ask, like, family, like, don't you think Jackson, like, wants more? And, like, you know, wants a big house? I'm like, well, I don't know, because every time we're anywhere, all he wants to do is hang out in the van. So I would say right now we're still thriving, but I know at some point I would like to get some land. And
yeah, like when he's 18, he may not love being under there anymore.
Yeah, no, definitely not. That's not. And honestly, he talked about at some point taking over the van. So, you know, when we get said land and I build it and I have my house, he's like, when I'm 16, I'm taking off in the van. I'm going to go on adventures. And I'm like, oh, well, then you can sleep up in my bed and you can put all your toys and stuff in your cave and your stuff. He's like, oh, no, that's where my kid's going to go, down there. I'm like, so it's so funny to hear him, like, you know, kind of just. And hopefully that's the goal. Like, these vans have been known, if you take care of them right, they can go up to 400, 500,000 miles. And, you know, when he turns 16 to 18, if he wants to, which I have a feeling he will with how adventurous we already are, if he wants to go and take the van and take off, you know, with some friends, maybe a girlfriend, who knows? That's so weird to think about. But, you know, I'm more than open to that. And I feel like that's what's come with this lifestyle. It's such an open-minded lifestyle. And mindset that you can say, hey, we're not having a set, rigid plan. We somewhat have a plan, but it's not super rigid so we can stay open, because you never know what opportunities are going to rise in life. I never thought I would be here living this way. I never thought I'd be homeschooling, you know, but I had an open mind in 2020 when I started talking to other moms that were homeschooling and realized, you know, actually, I think this might be the right thing for us.
What do you think, Katie? You want to homeschool your son?
You know, well, it's funny that you mentioned, I think 2020 and that COVID quarantining opened up a lot of ideas for a lot of people where they're like, well, maybe this is our chance, right? We can escape, we can go do these things. And I think people had bigger imaginations and willingness to want to go outside of their OCD norm. And the moment, you know, we all started to get back to work and, you know, quarantine was over, I think everyone was like, no, those are just dreamers. Those are crazy. Those are man people, right? But I think there was a moment in that 2020 era where a majority of people were brainstorming those sorts of things, and those dreams became like, maybe we should. And I am jealous of the people who did, you know, take those opportunities. I mean,
yeah,
homeschooling is definitely on the rise.
Yeah, well, I was going to say all of our sons are the same age. So we were right on that cusp of like school age when COVID happened, like, oh, you go this way or you go that way, you know? And I, for our son, at least we had him in daycares from the moment he was like 6 months old. So like reverting and going backwards felt like, no way, there's no way I could do that. And we were already having fights over little things. So it's like, I couldn't imagine having to teach him too. On top of that,
it's not easy, and it's not for everyone. I will say that, and I really respect moms that say, like, I'll meet moms at the park and they're like, oh, what school does your son go to? I'm like, oh, no, homeschool. Like, praise to you, but like, I know I could never do it. I wouldn't be patient enough. I wouldn't be, and it's like, good, like, realize that. Don't try to do it and then be yelling at your kid all day, and then you're both stressed out, and it's just not it's not a thriving thing for either one of you, you know, kind of thing. And it's very, I would say it's more mainstream now, but I mean, back, gosh, when I was in high school and I was younger, I thought that was like child abuse to do that to your kid. I'm like, oh, you're not going to send your kid to school? Like, you're messed up. Like, that is like abuse. Like, they need to go to school, you know? And then like, here I am homeschooling, you know what I mean? But I would say those are usually the two reactions I get from even van life or homeschooling, which is like, they're both very polar, which is like, you're bad shit crazy and what are you doing? Or, oh my gosh, you're living the dream. Like, I'll have women come up to me sometimes by the beach being like, oh, like, is that your van? That's me. I'm like, yeah, like, that's like my dream. I want to get a van so bad, and I want to get rid of all my stuff, and I just want to travel. And I'm like, I always tell anyone that approaches me, I'm like, I can tell you from my heart, if I can do it, truly anyone can do it. Like, by far. Like, we had no idea, no building experience at all when doing this. And again, if we could manage it and get it done, it's almost like not even just with van life, with anything. If you're committed enough and if you really believe in the dream and the goal, and you just stay going down that road that you chose to drive down and go down it with confidence. And again, realizing that, yeah, some of the days aren't going to be easy. And some days you are going to have doubt, self-doubt, worrying about the future. You know, even sometimes with homeschooling, there's days where I'm like, gosh, because people ask me, like, what are you going to do when it starts getting really hard, you know, and like the math and the this and the that. And I'm like, well, you know, like, how are you doing? I'm like, well, if you want to be a brain surgeon,
math that they try to teach you in second grade. What is that?
I know, right? Like, it's crazy. But luckily out here, especially, there's so many homeschool resources. Yeah. And it's the same thing with van life. There were so many resources to do it. So really, if you're starting a business, like, I reached out to an attorney who had a free consultation, and he was the best. He gave me so much good information that I didn't have to pay for. He literally taught me how to start an LLC. He's like, I could charge you an arm and a leg, or I could literally just tell you these 3 steps and you could start an LLC. So that'd be like my biggest advice too, is don't be afraid to reach out for help, because there, you know, could be a few no's, but a lot of the times people out there that are doing what you're doing, whatever that may be, they have information and prior experience and knowledge to share with you, you know, to help you down that journey, whatever it may be. Blogging, it's like, if anyone watching this wants to become a content creator, you can DM me. There's tons of girls, if you DM, they'll answer your questions. And nowadays too, there's a lot of girls dedicating their time to making reels and TikToks just to help other girls, like, get brand deals, how to send out, you know, an email to a brand to ask for a collaboration and stuff. There's so many good-hearted people out there. I really believe that what's that one quote that's like, a rising tide floats all boats. Like, if we all, you know what I mean, we can all come up together. It doesn't have to be, there's no gatekeeping, no secrets with me, whether that be with van life or content creation. And there's lots of people out there that are the same way, but there's also a lot of people out there that that do gatekeep. That's why you got to kind of just keep digging until you find your people.
Yeah. I want to get back into the content creation a little bit more in detail as far as like one trend I'm seeing a lot right now is people trying to de-influence a little bit. Like, here's why you might not want to do like the real, right? Because sometimes content creators try to put like the perfect world out there and it can make people feel a little bit like, oh, there's no way I could ever do that. What are you doing to try to, de-influence people from some things? Like, are we going to, like right now we're seeing the behind the scenes of you filming. I love that. Like, yeah, like is there like a van life story that you want to share, or like something to kind of help us feel like, okay, like it's not always perfect in sunshine.
Yeah, and that's good. He said sunshine, selling sunshine. Yeah. I would say you asked like, do I ever de-influence and talk? I've always been a big proponent of that from day one, because I've never wanted anyone to go to my Instagram page and feel inferior. I've never wanted anyone to go to my page and be like, she has a perfect life. She has it all. She's always so happy. I've made sure when I've had funks that I'm going through, even some like blooper reels of like me trying to film content and just messing up or jumbling my words or having a down moment or having a stressful week or having collabs that haven't worked out, I've really gotten on my stories. I like to share myself with no makeup, so that again, no one's coming to my page and like, wow, she looks perfect all the time. It's like, no, I don't. This isn't how I always look. And I've even at one point would used to share some of the filters like that you can use on Instagram, like using them and not, and be like, guys, don't forget when you come on here, it's smoke and mirrors. There could be an Instagram filter being like used on a girl's skin. You're looking at this girl feeling down about yourself because her skin is perfect. In reality, it's a filter, or back in the day too, presets were really, really big, and girls would buy these presets, put them on their photos and, make them look that picture perfect lighting and the colors. And again, I wanted to make sure to talk about that of like, hey, we're not all taking picture perfect pictures all the time. We're using presets, and that's why our page looks so good, because we're putting the same edit on every single photo. Or again, like, yes, I'm positive all the time. That's what my page revolves around. But is every day perfect? Am I always perfectly positive? No. And especially when we were building the van, I made sure to share the highs and the lows. When I was having my mental freak out, I was definitely sharing it on Instagram. And that's when you, to me, can really connect with your audience, because people respond and they DM and they share their experience, what they're going through, and then you can talk about it. Same thing with mom life and homeschooling. I try to share what we're doing, the resources, but I also share, hey, like, I have no idea what I was doing coming to this. Some days I feel like, am I as good as the teachers at the school and stuff? Just to show everyone and my followers that, like, hey, we all go through basically a wave of life, and some days are good and some days are lower. But again, having community, and I think being completely vulnerable on those days and showing up on these social media apps and being vulnerable and showing done up you, not done up you, happy you, sad you, I feel like it really counterbalances, because sometimes I do feel like social media can be a toxic place of just everything looking in line and people comparing their lives to one another.
Yep.
And that's not, and I even get that way. Sometimes I'll get on and be like, oh man, her videos are better than mine, or oh, her photos are better than mine, or oh, her following's growing bigger than mine, or she's working with a brand that I really want to work with. Why didn't I get that? But trying to always ground myself and remember that, like, hey, and I really do believe what's meant for you, and through the law of attraction, and again, aligning yourself and staying true to you. Post what you want to post. Don't just follow trends. If that trend doesn't align with your page or with you and your values, don't do it. Don't accept every collaboration, every brand reaching out to you. Don't do what everyone else is doing. If everyone else is living in a house and you want to live in a van, live in a van. And if you are staying in a line that, then I believe that's when what's meant for you really flows and comes to you, and you have to trust. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out for a reason. And that was probably in your favor, because I do believe, the universe works that way. And I try to remind myself of that when things don't go my way, which is like, hey, this isn't a negative thing. This is my life aligning. That just wasn't in alignment for me for whatever reason it may be. That wasn't supposed to be for me right now in this moment. Maybe it will be down the road. Maybe it won't. And you just have to trust in that.
Yeah, like maybe it's just even timing. It's so true. Even with this podcast, like sometimes I feel like everything's got to be so perfect, and like I've got all my notes, the light has to be right, and it's like that's not really painting the real picture of the behind the scenes of the and the emails and the this and the that. And like, we almost should do a montage of that, Katie. Like all the behind
I
the
love
scenes.
that. And that's a lot of girls
So-
with content creation. They won't start because they don't feel perfectly ready. They don't have the like everything. I'm like, you just got to start posting.
You gotta,
just for us, we
start.
could have wrote the notes for the van. We could have literally studied for days, but you got to start building. It's like learning to ride a bike. You can study to learn to ride a bike all day long, but you got to get on the bike. You got to start, you know what I mean? You got to start getting that momentum. And over time, I think there's one quote that's like, just start and perfect it later, you know? And that'd probably be my biggest advice to anyone watching this, whatever endeavor, a new career path they're going down, or content creation, or heck, even van life, you know, just start. You just got to start, and don't let the fear control you, and don't let the fear of the unknown control you, because what you don't know, I mean, could literally be, it could work out. What's that one other quote too that's like, you know, but what if it all does work out?
Yeah, exactly. What if it does? Exactly.
You don't know.
Like, don't sit in this feeling of like awfulness and hope and want and desire. If you have the option to make a change to get there, do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We all sit here all day long and think, well, what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? Well, maybe at least one day of the week think, well, what if it does? You know, give some of the good side, you know, your mental strength. And my other thing too is like, don't neglect yourself for any of your goals, whether that be van life or content creator. Don't just go. You got to set some time aside to rest, to move your body, exercise. I used to never exercise first thing in the morning. I rollerblade 10 miles every morning. And I used to always save my workouts for when dad got home to take care of the baby. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm waking up before both of them. I'm putting myself first. I don't have to earn my workout throughout the day. I want to fill my cup first, so that way I can be the most present and healthy mom and me I can be for my friends, for my family, for my son. And honestly, that's been one of the best decisions, is not waking up and working first thing in the morning. Waking up, doing a little meditation, not looking at my phone. Am I perfect every day on that? No. But for the most part, I try really hard to just get up and move my body and kind of just get outside first, and then start attending to all the emails and all the DMs and all the...
I love that. Fill your cup first.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your positivity today, Shelby. It's been really wonderful, especially on this rainy, cold day. One thing we like to do at the end of our episodes is just do a little round table of what we learned from you today. So for me, I mean, there's so much I love. I think my favorite thing is definitely the de-influencing and just being the real you, and just really putting that out there. And it's something we've had to do with this podcast more. I've been doing more kind of not putting my makeup on and just doing the testimonial about the episode. And like, it's been really uncomfortable and just sharing more of myself, but the response has been really amazing. And I really appreciate you, reinforcing that, because even when I do it, it's still, I get that little butterfly thing in the pit of my stomach. But they are some of our most watched videos. So what about you, Katie? What did you learn today?
I loved the reminder, the mantra that you gave us of when the tide rises, all the boats rise up. And I want everyone to remember that, because it's hard, because sometimes you want it and you want everyone to be helping you rise. But then if you're not doing it too, like, why do you deserve that? So I think just the reminder that we are all in this together. We are all boats on this water waiting for the tide to ebb and flow and rise. And if we can all help each other, it's going to be not only easier, but a hell of a lot more fun.
I agree. Yeah. That's what it's all about, right? Not taking life too seriously, and, having fun, putting yourself out there. I really love chatting with you ladies.
Oh, awesome.
Sam, can you tell us how to stalk Shelby? Because we're best friends.
Her page is so beautiful. It's like a rainbow on your phone. It's amazing. Styling Sunshine on Instagram is where you can find her, and you can keep up with all of her current collabs that she's doing. And if you just need something to brighten your day, I definitely recommend going over there. It's just a joy. So for us, follow us on F Your Life Up Podcast on all social media platforms, and send us any questions to FYourLifeUpPod@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Oh, and Crystal, we missed you on this episode.
Oh, and we do. We missed you.